Hello everyone, my name is Izzy. Some of you may know me as Dumpling from ArcheRage NA, and today we are here with another PvP guide video on endgame boss content, namely Black Dragon. In this video I'm going to be going over some previously recorded footage of a Black Dragon kill that we had, where I will be pausing the video and highlighting certain mechanics that the boss does that are crucial for the boss kill, and also explain how you're supposed to properly deal with those mechanics. If you're a newer player who happens to be undergeared and are dying a lot to BD or Black Dragon, there are certain things you can do to help alleviate some of the damage you're taking while under the boss. Making sure you're properly buffed for the boss fight will increase your survivability drastically. These are the primary buffs that everyone should have. Food, which is going to provide you with PvE received damage, a whole bunch of other stats such as HP, skill damage, as well as just raw attack. The War Drum, I think the text is incorrect. It should be giving you received damage reduction 5% instead of 2%, as well as Monster Hunter's Dream, which reduces PvE received damage by 10%, and then also the statue buff, which reduces received damage by 6%, and make sure you have the blue one instead of the red one, which is this option right here. On top of buffs, making sure that you also have the right accessories equipped will help you a lot with the surviving under the boss, which is the Halcyona necklace, which gives you 6% received damage reduction, as well as Noriad accessories, namely the earrings, which provide you with a base 4% received PvE damage reduction, as well as the synthesis effects, which you can put max health, your main stat, as well, and receive damage on it, and you can have 2 earrings. So these things will make you a lot tankier while you're under the boss, taking chip damage from Black Dragon. Another thing you can do if you feel that just buffs and the accessories aren't enough is playing a different spec. So what you want to do is, this is the spec that I run when I'm tanking the boss. What you want to have is to make sure that you are running Oromancy as well as defense, and the skills that you want to have selected is Revitalizing Cheer, Health Lift, and Thwart. You're going to have a lot of leftover points that you can use to take whatever you want. I personally am very geared, so I do not need Health Lift, so I don't take it. But if you are someone that's taking a lot of damage and you need the HP, you should definitely take Health Lift because it gives you 4,000 max HP, and it also is very beneficial to your raid. Revitalizing Cheer gives you 20% extra max health as well for 40 seconds, and it has a 100% uptime. If you don't know how to get the life version, you just go to Ancestral, go to Defense, and then go to Revitalizing Cheer and you select life. So having these things, these 2 skill trees, along with your main DPS tree, either Battle Rage, Sorcery, or Archery, will help you be more effective or be more useful while you're under the boss. So moving on, we're going to jump right into the video and go over some of the boss mechanics that are very, very crucial to the boss fight itself. Here we have some video footage of a Black Dragon kill from my perspective as the primary tank for our raid. We're coming up on the first mechanic of the Black Dragon. Whenever Black Dragon falls below 90% HP, it will begin its first mechanic, which is called Penetrating Dark Energy, which we call the Add or Spirit phase. So during the Spirit phase, what happens is the dragon will select 15 random people in the raid that has aggro to apply a debuff to. You can see the debuff right here, right? This is one of them. It's very, very visible. And also, if you are the person that gets the debuff, you will have some text that goes across your screen that tells you that you have the debuff. So on top of applying this debuff, the dragon will also spawn spirits or ads that we call them. And these ads will be constantly walking towards Black Dragon. And each ad that makes its way to BD or Black Dragon will give the dragon a stacking buff that increases its attack by 10% and defense by 10%. If all 15 spirits end up making it to Black Dragon, then the dragon will berserk, and it will have a berserk buff that increases its attack by 250% and defense by 250%. So this is how we deal with it. We wait. So we follow the dragon. Okay, so you see the first ghost, right? The first ad. Right here. This is what the ads look like. They're just like dark spirits that are constantly walking towards BD. It will spawn at random times during this phase around the dragon, and it will always be moving towards the dragon. So you with the debuff needs, like, the players with the debuffs need to make contact with the ghost or the ad. So I ended up touching one of the ads that were a little bit closer. I don't know if I'll be able to clear this buff, but what you're supposed to do with the debuff is to walk into one of these ghosts right here to cleanse the ghost and, you know, make it go away before it reaches the dragon. So you see here, I touch the ghost and then the ghost disappears. But there are ghosts that spawn like directly under the dragon, which give it this stacking debuff right here, as you can see. Right now it has 2 stacks, meaning 2 ghosts have, or 2 ads have made their way into Black Dragon, giving it a 20% total damage increase and defense increase. It is highly recommended to use your mounts and gliders to move around faster, to be able to cleanse these spirits before they reach the dragon. So not too bad so far. We ended up with 3 stacks of the buff, which means we got 12 out of the 15 spirits that the dragon spawns. So throughout the fight, the boss will like obviously do its random attacks, such as like the swings where it flaps you away. It'll like spit fireballs at you. These are just like things that just happen randomly throughout the fight. There's no like designated like interval of HP where it will be forced to do a certain mechanic, right? So we are now below 80% HP, which is the next threshold. At 80% HP, the dragon will do the mechanic called Black Dragon Scale, which we call Scale Phase. What happens is it will do a raid-wide silence to everyone in the area, and the dragon will be flying up in the air, immune to damage, and dropping its scales on the floor, which you then have to pick up so that you will get a invincibility channel. And while you're invincible, the dragon will slam down on the floor and hit whoever is not immune. So I want to play the video a little bit more so I can show you what the scales look like. So these are what the scales look like right here. They're dropping on the floor. I'm a little bit zoomed out in the game, so it's hard to see, but you can see them falling from the sky, right? You walk up to it, you have to interact with one of these scales right here, right here. There's like the dragon drops a bunch of scales, right? You can see them on the floor. You walk up to it, interact, and then you'll get a buff or like an arrow over your head indicating that you have picked up a scale. Multiple people can share a scale as long as you're standing next to them. And here you'll see multiple people can share the scale. So if you're standing next to someone that has a scale, you will also go immune with them. And you'll see right here, you get grasped, I guess, by the scale itself, giving you immunity, right? So you now have the immune debuff. It's a little bit hard to see right now. I'm gonna play the video a little bit. Oh, sorry. full screen to accident, but you can see right here, I now have a 7-second immunity buff, which means I'm immune to damage for 7 seconds. And within that time frame, the dragon will then slam down on the ground and hit whoever doesn't have this immune debuff or immune buff, right? Like this guy right here, Seleth. Boom, right? So he slams down, I'm safe. This guy dies because he didn't catch a scale and he's not sharing a scale with anybody. So he ends up dying. Then moving on, same as before, the dragon will randomly do mechanics such as like this spin attack right here, which you, okay, and Smash Earth. Okay, so Smash Earth is one of the bigger mechanics that happen randomly throughout the fight. And what it does is you'll see the ground crack before it does the actual attack. So let me see if I can slow this video down to catch the time when the ground cracks. Okay, so you see right here. So Smash Earth is one of the abilities that usually wipes a raid if you get hit by it. You'll know that it's coming by obviously the cast bar, but you'll also like get an indicator from the ground where it like just cracks like this, showing that hey, he's gonna do Smash Earth really soon. So what you really want to do, the best way to avoid it is to glide and be in the air. You do not want to be on the floor when the Smash Earth goes off. If you're a really good player, you can jump and at the right time and avoid it. But most players that have a hard time timing the jump will just use their glider, preferably like an Ezzy glider or something, to avoid the damage and just be in the air when this happens. So this is one of the big mechanics that it does at random intervals. It doesn't have like a set time where it does it. So you want to make sure you avoid that. Okay, so this is another ability that the dragon does at random times throughout the fight. There's no HP determining factor for when it casts. It's called Terrifying Roar. What it does is it will randomly hit a certain amount of players. I think there's like a cap to how many people it can hit, but it hits a lot of players, and then what it does is it will stun the player that gets hit for like 5 seconds. It's not very important to be able to dodge. There's no dodging it at all. It's just RNG whether or not you get hit by it. But this is something to take note of if you're like contesting or you're PvPing. If you get stunned by this dragon, then the enemy usually has the upper hand, right? If you're not being attacked really, then it doesn't really matter, this ability. Just know that it'll stun you. Okay. Smash Earth. Right, make sure you're in the air when it happens, and then Typhoon Wings is something that the boss will do randomly throughout the fight. So we're approaching below 70%, which is another threshold, and during this time period, it will do the add or spirit phase once again at 70% HP or below 70% HP. So you can see here that the enemy faction decides to push on this mechanic, and it's very smart to do so because you have 15 people from the raid that need to do the mechanic where you cleanse the spirits so that the boss doesn't berserk, but then at the same time you now have to like deal with these people that are trying to like dive into your raid and kill you, right? So at 70% HP is the same thing. There's the spirit phase, but now you have people coming in to contest, and they're CCing you and attacking you and doing damage to you while you're debuffed and you're trying to like take care of the ghosts that are spawning around BD. Right. So me, I kind of just ignore the fight. I deal with the mechanic first, because if no one does the mechanic, then the boss will berserk and the attempt to kill the boss is already over. So first you need to really pay attention to getting these spirits while you're fighting. The priority being the spirits, and then the fight. So make sure you take care of the spirits first, and then focus on wiping the enemy raid. So we end up wiping the enemies here. I didn't really need to do much because I'm just primary tanking the boss. And then the boss will continue its rotation of abilities, like Smash Earth, Terrifying Roar, Typhoon Wings. And I want to show you Lasso, but there hasn't been like a good Lasso yet. Oh, and Sunder Earth. Okay, so Sunder Earth is another ability that is very, very straightforward. But for some reason, people still get hit by it. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let me back up to the right time. Oh. Okay. God damn it. It's going too fast for me to pause. Okay, but you can see the rings, right? You can see... Ah! I'm triggered. Right here. So the boss telegraphs its ability called Sunder Earth, right? It does a horseshoe, right? So this is the way that it comes. It first comes from both sides like this of the boss, right? At the same time. It comes from the outside in a horseshoe pattern, and it links up at the middle like this. And then it will also do another line straight down like this, right? And then when this side is done, the dragon will flip over to the other side, turn around, and do this exact same thing on the opposite side. And you know, you've played MMOs, you've played other games like WoW. You do not want to stand in stuff that the boss is doing, right? So you'll see here that the boss casts Sunder Earth, boom, 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 right? In a horseshoe for both sides, linking up in the middle, and then it'll go down, right? It does a lot of freaking damage. Do not get caught by this if you're not super geared. Even if you're super geared, if the boss has a lot of stacks, you will die in one hit. So obviously don't stand anything. It's very telegraphed. There are still a lot of people that get hit by it for no reason whatsoever. So just be careful. Like, no one should be dying to stuff like this because it's very, very telegraphed and easy to see. Right, Sunder Earth. It just keeps doing its rotation of like mechanics at random times. There's no, so I get hit there. Don't mind me. I say it's very, very bad to get hit. I got hit on purpose. Okay, trust me. I'm doing it to stack metal as the tank. Okay, there's a reason I got hit. It's not because I'm a noob. Okay, and then it'll smash Earth. Right. There's also like random times where it'll summon meteors. The meteors are also very highlighted on the floor. Don't stand in these circles because the meteors will be coming down. So just pay attention to those. Right, meteors again. It just does these like random rotation of abilities. It's not, there's no indicator of what he's gonna do next. So it's just all random, what it chooses to do. Okay, we're approaching 60% and it's, you'll see a theme here, like almost every 10% HP gone, the boss will do a mechanic, right? So this is gonna be a new mechanic that you haven't seen yet. We call it the orb phase. So at below 50%, below 60% HP, sorry, it will do this ability or this mechanic called orbs, where he summons 6 orbs around itself, right? So you can see this is one of the orbs here. There's going to be more orbs like this, or all around the boss, right? So what you have to do is walk up to this orb, interact with it with B, and then it will, or not B, but your interact key, whatever it is, either F or whatever. You interact with it, and then it gives you the ability to shoot a laser at BD, right? So you pick up the orb, interact with it, pick up the orb, you get this ability right here. You can see, I already used it, and it shoots this like javelin towards BD, and you see other people doing it too because they've grabbed their orbs. You need to hit, I believe, 6 javelins total. I could be wrong, it could be more, but obviously the more people that do it, the better. If you do not hit BD with 6 javelins within the allotted time it gives you to hit BD, it will do a raid-wide AoE attack that does a ton of damage, kind of like the scale phase, where it slams the ground, right? So you can either do the mechanic, or you get on like an immune mount and immune the damage, right? One or the other, but more often than not, it's better to just do the mechanic because the mechanic the lance that we shoot at BD does a ton of damage as well, so it just helps with the kill. So we successfully do it, right? BD takes a lot of damage. And then we just keep DPSing until the next phase. Right? BD will, you know, frequently move around. It'll sometimes go immune while it's flying and stuff like that. That just happens throughout the fight at random times. Not much to think about there. Right? Smash Earth. I promise I'm getting hit by things on purpose to stack metal. Okay, sorry, I forgot to mention one more thing. So remember those spirits, the spirits phase that I told you at 90% HP and 70% HP? Once the boss is below 60% HP, the spirit phase mechanic is now in the rotation of random abilities that the boss will use or whatever throughout the fight, right? So below 60%, it can randomly just cast the spirit phase, and you will have to deal with the spirit mechanic whenever it happens. Okay. I don't know if whirlwinds are a HP thing. It's not triggered by HP, but I do think they only start to trigger when it's below 60% as well. So what happens is the dragon will randomly spawn these whirlwinds. You can see them right here, right on the floor. And if you were to step in one of them, it'll just fling you super high up into the air. So try not to step in them. And I believe it's just random after 60%, kind of like the spirit phase. Yeah. That one's not that important. I guess I can show you also the. Let's see. Okay, so another mechanic that BD does, or Black Dragon does, is it does a fireball, right? So the dragon will fly up into the air, be immune to damage, and the person that it's targeting, which is me currently, it will spit a fireball at the person that it's targeting, and if me as the person with aggro, if I do not get up into the air and I let the fireball hit the floor, it will spread flames around in like multiple different directions, leaving like a pool of fire on the floor, which if you step in it and you stand in it for a long time, you will die, right? But the way that I deal with it is I just get up on my glider, and then the fireball hits me while I'm in the air, and it doesn't actually hit me at all, and it doesn't land on the floor, right? The animation looks like it's on the floor, but it's not actually on the floor, so it doesn't spread fire. Okay, so now we've reached another 10% HP point. We are now below 50% HP, and at 50% HP, it will do scales again, okay? The scale phase, where you have to pick up a scale. The scales will make you immune after a short while, and then the dragon will slam onto the floor, hitting whoever isn't immune. You can also choose not to pick up a scale and just use the immune from your mount dash, or from like a glider immune, but most of the time it's just easier to just pick up the scale, right? See, Emelin doesn't have the scale there, he gets hit, then we kill him. Right, dodge the Sunders, smash Earth. Just a lot of random mechanics that happen. Cast Whirlwinds again. Yeah, so you see there I walked into a whirlwind and it like launched me into the air. And then you have to do all of this. Obviously, at the time of this video, the enemies that we were fighting are very demoralized. They have kind of thrown in the towel, really, and they only show up with like a third of their usual force, or a third of their usual numbers. So it wasn't very difficult, but if you were to imagine a scenario where both sides are very evenly matched, you have to do Black Dragon, all of the mechanics, right? As well as having to fight like an enemy faction, which will make it very, very hard to kill. I ended up dying here. I don't remember to what. I think I died to a fireball. So I ended up missing a good portion of BD because I am on rebirth trauma. But nothing really new happens when the boss reaches 30% HP. So at 50% HP, the boss will do scales, and then after that, the next mechanic happens at below 30% HP, which is the orb phase again, which I showed you before. We are now under 20%, and at 20%, it will repeat the scale phase. So you'll see here, whenever it chooses to do it, being a little bit slow, but under 20% HP, it will do the scale phase again. I think I might have gotten back after the scale phase was done. So at below 20% HP, it will also do another scale phase, and then just now it did the spirit phase, the add phase, at a random time. So it just chose that right now just to do spirits. Right, you see how people are running, making sure that they're picking up or running their body into the spirit when they have the debuff to cleanse the spirit, so that the boss doesn't get a lot of attack and defense stacks. As the tank, it is a little bit boring. You spend a lot of your time really just making sure the dragon you don't lose aggro of the dragon so that they can't reset it on you. So you don't see me participate in too many of the fights. Okay. We are now approaching 10% HP threshold, and below 10% HP, it's another repeat of the previous mechanic that you saw before, which is the orb phase, right? So we're doing the orb phase again. You grab the orb, you shoot the arrow that it gives you at BD, and then BD comes down. BD just lassoed, it just pulls people in at random. And okay, so here's another, we do a lot of damage, so that's why the boss gets down to 1%, but when the boss reaches below 5% HP, it will fly. It will go into the air, go immune, fly towards the middle of the keep, and then once it reaches the middle of the keep, it will cast an ability called Final Attempt, which gives the boss 50% extra damage and 50% extra defense to kind of, I don't know, give like the contesters a chance, I guess, and make the fight a little bit harder. It doesn't really do much, I don't think, at least to us. But the Final Attempt you see right here, it gives itself a buff for 2 minutes, and the buff gives 50% extra damage and 50% extra defense for the dragon, making it slightly harder to kill. But I mean, we're all really geared, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And there you have it. When I'm killing BD, I think we get an egg from this kill as well. But yeah, that's the end of the video. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the comments, and I will do my best to get back to you. See you later.